Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. For those that are new, my name is Nelly. When it comes to relationships, they've become so complicated. Finding the right spouse can be difficult. Whether it's a man or maybe you're looking on finding a woman, it's complicated. As much as we think it's hard for the women, it's also hard for the men as well, believe me. So today's video, we're going to talk about how God confirms that that is your spouse. One of the things that he will show you that this is your spouse is he will prepare you for that season of marriage before he actually reveals him to you. Because in Exodus 3, it talks about everything has a season. You want to be married. That is why God has to prepare you for that season. You think you're ready for marriage, and yet maybe you're not. And this is a time where you have to pray and ask God to show you the things that you need to change about yourself that maybe you're not even aware of. You want to get married, but you don't know what are the things that are probably hindering you for finding that person. Maybe it's to do with your past that you're not even aware of, that might creep in and hinder your marriage if you go into that marriage without healing. Sometimes there are things that we carry from our past that maybe you've even forgotten about them. Suddenly, when you get married, they show up. Because when it comes to marriage, it may reveal some certain things that you don't know about yourself. Or maybe that person will bring out some things that you don't know about yourself. So that is why when you are in that season when God is preparing you, you need to be asking God, what are the things that you need to change about yourself? What are the things that God needs to reveal about yourself that you don't know? Maybe even ask for him to reveal those things that are holding you from not getting married. When it comes to that season where God is preparing for marriage, you need to be ready. If there are things that you need to deal with, this is a season where you have to deal with them, which comes to the second point, where God removes people in your life. Maybe the relationship that you're in right now, or maybe the friends that you hang out with. It's a very difficult season because this is a time where the devil will start playing with your mind, where you start thinking that nobody wants to be around you, or you start having those feelings of rejection without realizing that God may be the one removing those people in your life. Because he knows that you're beginning to settle in this relationship because you want to be with this person. That is why he will set you apart from that relationship, or even those friends that will make you make the wrong decisions. Sometimes you won't even understand what's happening. But if you give yourself a chance to be listening to God and getting to understand how he speaks to you, you'll understand what's happening in your life. He's beginning to prune those areas in your life that needs healing. And sometimes there are times when you need to remove people in your life in order to hear God speaks to you, or in order to start healing without anyone distracting your life. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, that person will want to see you all the time. And yet this is a time when you have to purge, so you don't enter your marriage with unresolved issues, because they will definitely affect your issue. You will feel that you're in that isolation period, and maybe you'll be tempted to call that ex or maybe those friends. This is a time where you have to be prayerful so that you don't find yourself calling those people that God has removed in your life, because the devil can use them to come back to you, and it will be difficult to remove them in your life. And the next way to see that God is confirming this person in your life is you'll have that gut feeling. When it comes to gut feeling, sometimes that gut feeling can deceive us. This is when you need a confirmation from God. And it comes with that peace. That peace is a confirmation from God. That is why sometimes you get people saying, when I first saw him or when I first saw her, I knew that this person is my spouse. Is God speaking to them through their gut feeling? It's a feeling that you can't really explain it. And the next point that you will know that this is your spouse is, once you have that gut feeling and you have that peace, this is when you have to seek God's guidance. Just like when you pray to God daily for your life, if you do, you need to also pray for God to help you, guide you in finding the right partner. So many people forget to ask God when it comes to this. Because most of the time we rely on our own understanding, and we also ask our friends and family instead of asking God. God created that person and created you as well. Ask him if this is the right person. Don't be too pressed to be married just because your clock is ticking. Rather let that clock tick than end up making the wrong decisions. That is why you need to seek God's guidance and get that confirmation from him. Because the devil can also bring a counterfeit as well, who has some of those qualities that your spouse will have. And you end up making the wrong decision. Because when it comes to counterfeit, it may come just before your spouse comes. And you think this is him, this is it. Which comes to the next point. You need to wait for God's timing. God's timing is always the best, even though we think God takes too long. Maybe God has already confirmed to you that this one is your spouse. It doesn't mean that he will come immediately, because as much as he's preparing you, he's also preparing your spouse as well. And it may take time. Sometimes it may take a year. Sometimes it may take 6 months, or sometimes it's just 3 months. So allow yourself to be in that waiting season. Sometimes we don't even get it, and we end up compromising with people that are not meant to be part of our lives. Because of that counterfeit who came into your life before your right partner, he ends up stealing from you and changing your destiny. You end up marrying that person, or even you end up having children with that person. Your destiny that you had with the right person ends up being compromised. Your partner will come, but now you have to bring in those children from another partner into your marriage. Even though God knew that this is what was going to happen. Because it says, before you were born, I knew you. Before you were knitted in your mother's womb, I knew you. You may think sometimes you're waiting for God's timing. And yet, it's just those little things about you where you're too picky because of that certain image that you're looking for in a spouse. And you end up delaying finding the right partner. And yet that person that God has for you, it's right there. And you don't see it because of your pickiness. When God shows you who he is, you need to be patient. And another way that God will confirm that this is a person for you is you'll have common interest. Maybe those common interests will lead you to that person that God has for you. Sometimes maybe that's how you'll probably get to meet each other. You'll have those same interests, and maybe with those interests, you'll keep meeting each other in different places. It's not a coincidence. One of you will get to notice every time I'm here, this person is here. At times you will see that this person is not spiritually matured, and yet you have common interest, which most people find it very difficult to disclose their spirituality in the beginning. But when you see that this person is not spiritually matured, you need to pray about it. Because it's so much better to be with someone that you're equally yoked with than being with someone that you're not equally yoked with. This is when you need that spirit of discernment to see if this is the right person for you or it's not. Because someone can come to you and tell you, God told me you're my wife. As much as God has spoken to that person, he will speak to you as well. The Bible says, don't be equally yoked with unbelievers. Don't enter a relationship with a person with the hope that you will change them. Because what if they don't change? When you choose to be with an unbeliever, it means that you don't have common interest with that person. Because it comes to the next point. When God shows you that this is your spouse, that person will make sacrifices for you. See how far that person will go with those sacrifices for you. Some people will tend to go for that route in order to gain something from you. Maybe that person that you've been praying for will start making those sacrifices that they go to church. And maybe you can see that transformation when it comes to this person. But maybe you need to have that spirit of discernment to sense at this point, because the devil can also bring in a counterfeit. Because when sacrifices are done without strings attached, then you'll know that this person is here for the right reasons. Because relationships are about give and take. If that person is not willing to sacrifice for you, then you should know that this person is not from God. That person may not be your spouse. Because marriage is a covenant, and that person you choose to sign that covenant with should be a person that God has confirmed to you that this is the right spouse for you. This is the person I have in mind for you. So make sure you make that right choice. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. God bless you.